offer. I mean, they have been exceptional, and I mean, freaking Mohesi have fit into this roster beautifully. I mean, Dauntless, excellent coach. Ginger, I know she is a wonderful manager for this team. This is a stacked team, and they have only gotten increasingly more stacked week after week. They're looking insanely impressive. And yes, the predictions said it. We've said it. Livid have their work cut out for them here. They made a bold decision going to Clubhouse. Nocturnes looked really good here with the last time we saw them play. This one is going to be tough. I know there's VOD on this, so that's where Livid could have a little bit of hope, right? They've got that VOD review and this roster that every day is looking increasingly like the wonderful Community League Team Mystic Gatekeepers stack with Rexby, Whitlock, and Xeno. Maybe it's getting stronger by the day. But right now on Clubhouse, we'll have to see how it shakes up, because right now it's looking pretty stock standard. The Thatcher ban, the Hibana ban, that is pretty much what you come to expect on this map. Because the Maverick is still in play, we're not going to see a Kaid ban. Instead, it's going to be the Wamai and the Valkyrie on defense.
Yep, which are, again, two very common bans. Wamai being banned means it is just that much harder to hold positions like Rafters, Bathroom, Generator, stuff like that. It also opens up the possibility of perhaps a Capitao. Although, some teams just don't run them at all, which is completely understandable. It doesn't look like Nocturnes are too keen on doing that, at least in the first round, as it is going to be a Church attack. Got the double hard breach, the Thermite and the Maverick, the double nades from the Iana and the Sledge, and the Zoph just to round things out. So this is your pretty standard attacker lineup on club. Maybe, Thermite and Ace. Thermite and Ace are pretty interchangeable, but the other four are staples with these bans in particular. And Livid currently setting up for what appears to be that aggressive triple drone denial roam with the Mute, the Mozzie, and the Vigil. We saw SSG pioneer this kind of strategy, but it's not exactly the SSG roam because there is no castle, there is no Legion of Melusi on the site. There's really not a lot to stop the attackers from clearing. In terms of hard utility, it's really just going to be making their drone work harder.
I mean, you do have some reinforcements to speak of, so that can, burn some utility away. But again, the dual hard breachers, I mean, it's designed to counter that exact thing. For now, Lackey is going to shortcut this top floor clear and just hold this secret door as well. The rest of the team is going to go for this blue rush, it seems. Combine that with Mohesi and Flyco just working their way up dirt. The on-site pressure is fully here. Unfortunately, looks like Freak will get timinged there by Rexby, but thankfully Exot is there to play the trade, and now Exot is not going to waste any time going for this plant. Looks like Livid now finally have to rotate back to the site, and they will arrive, but a little bit too late to stop the plant from going down. Good thing Omega is there. An SMG-11 finds one head. Exot and Flyco find two trades, leaving Whitlock alone against three. The Vigil, hoping to pull something out, knows roughly where the diffuser is put down and has a good bit of intel to work with because of the mirror window, but there are still three players to find, and Mo is not going to let that happen. A wonderful first round of the Nocturnes deciding, let's shortcut this SSG-style roam. Let's go right to the site, and it worked beautifully.
Yep, and that is one of the most common counters to the SSG-style roam is a dirt blue rush, because you catch those defensive anchors off guard. There's only two of them there. If you just overwhelm them with all five of your players, I mean, what the hell are they going to do? We saw the trades go in favor of the Nocturnes, specifically because they got that opening pick. Sure, Freak got traded out, but Exod was right behind him. And those roamers were just far too late, having to retake into a site like Church Arsenal when the attackers already have all of their post-plant positions pretty much set and aided by mirror windows. That's nearly an impossible task for the likes of Whitlock, Xeno, and I believe Omega it was, if I'm not mistaken. So, Jim will be the next attempt from Livid. And they are going for, it looks like, the cash hold. So no construction shield for the defense, at least not for now. That's kind of style of hold that we're seeing be more and more familiar as this map progresses. But they are going to be holding not only cash, but top red as well. So we'll likely see a shield in that hallway, maybe even a shield inside cash itself to assist whoever's holding it. And Nocturnes will, of course, have to slog through all of this utility if they want this control.
Yeah, nothing out of the ordinary in terms of this gym hold. I mean, even the Frost. I mean, this is something we have come to see quite a bit on this objective. The Maestro is one of those operators, again, that doesn't always get played on this site. You can substitute him for an Echo rather effortlessly. It just is a bit tougher to play those Yokai drones well. You need someone pretty experienced, and you've got to work out that strat far in advance, where you want to put those, how you want to play them, and how to get that intel working for you as well. Because for now, the Nocturnes are making relatively quick work of this entry. They'll work their way up the garage rafters and begin to figure out exactly what they're dealing with on this cache side. More often than not, attacking teams will indeed opt for this full clear because, again, it is extremely beneficial to have this full side of the map, be able to set up those drones on that flank and lock down that position. But for now, Livid are doing a pretty good job of holding this fast. You're going to have to wait for Exod. That's what the delay is for Nocturnes. They're hoping you get these thermite charges in play, but a perfect C4 will nearly end the round for Nocturnes. Exod barely escaping alive. Same thing goes for Rexaby, as a nade will graze his feet from below. But Nocturnes, yes, they lost one player in the process, but you're keeping your Hard Breacher alive, so your hopes are not over. You'll have Lackey rotate around, apply some pressure from elsewhere, but Livid, overall, a fantastic time waste on this cache side. Finally, Nocturnes will secure control, but they still have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, it's only a one-man disadvantage for them, though Exod is lit up. Like you said, they've got a minute to play with. They now have that full cache control, establishing the construction cutoff. Where are they going to go next? If they, after claiming cache, have seemingly just abandoned it. Exod is going to be making his way towards the other side of the building, as Jacuzzi has already been opened, and that's where the case will reside, pretty much saying that, the plant is looking to go down in gym. In order to do that, though, they have to make sure that this player can no longer play on the main stairs. Zeno cuts down Mohesi, and Rexaby has been down but not finished off, and in comes Lackey, but the Frost will come into play. It's just Exod alone now in a 1 versus 4. Rexaby's been down. He'll finally be finished off, but the Thermite being very low on HP, very low on time, not too much control to speak of. He's not in the best of positions. He'll get a second, but he'll be actually finished off by the evil eye of Omega sitting up in the corner, and that'll be the equalizer. We are tied up 1 apiece.
Yeah, that's a great round from Livid. I mean, there is nothing much else you can say. I mean, that was exactly a perfect tutorial about how to defend Gym. A cache extension, but don't overcommit. Work a player in construction to allow those players to rotate back when they need. Livid did that perfectly. They had a great cache extension that burned 2 minutes off the clock, forced a player from Nocturnes to rotate all the way around, only to be greeted by a C4 to the face. From there, yeah, Livid gave up cache control, gave up construction control, but they did not lose a single player on that extension, and that is exactly how you want to play Gym. This tertiary bomb site of Gym and Master Bedroom, it is one of those sites that often just comes down to a frag fest on the objective in those closing moments, and in that case, you want to staff that site as heavily as possible when it comes down to that execute. And thankfully for Livid, with some really good time control, really good calls from their IGL, they all stayed alive. They were all ready for that push. And Nocturnes, considering the lack of time, the lack of manpower, the lack of utility they had remaining, pushing into 5 people was a job and a half to get done. And unfortunately, they just couldn't make it happen.
Now we moved on to cache, and yet again we will see the exact same operator lineup. This is kind of the one-size-fits-all for this map. The Skeleton Key. Very different defensive lineup, though. A little bit harder. Well, might be the server wall. Might also be Garage. But either way, you know, it's not really going to matter because there is a Maverick on the board who can just bypass all of that electricity. Recipe's actually got an Electro Claw in pocket. I'm not quite sure why. But either way, whatever was on the wall before is now gone, and thus it will be open. So that makes me think, you know, they didn't Mav trick it, so the Electro Claw is somewhere on construction? Not quite sure where he put it. But either way, server wall has been open within a minute, so that's good timing from Nocturnes, and it looks like the rest of the players are intent on pushing Garage, it seems.
That's part of any typical cash attack, right? You get that CCTV platform wall open. That's step one. And from there, just figure out where you want to get that two-pronged approach from. Do you want to work your way in Garage or try to work your way in from that backside and pressure into cash from there? For now, it is indeed going to be this Garage push, but it's also going to be an opening frag with a frag. That's going to be on to Whitlock, the first player to drop. Rexavy as well will join his teammate down, but in this case, he will not be out quite yet, and in fact, revived by Zeno, who is playing close behind. So great vertical play so far from Nocturnes. More nades pestering Omega, who's now forced to fall off. FMG in hand. He's trying to get this kill onto FICO, who as well will dodge a couple of very nice shots from Omega. Another nade comes Omega's way, but he won't die from that one. But the second one will force him out, and Lackey in the perfect position to make sure that kill is finally successfully found, rather. Now 3v5. With Livid on the back foot, Rexavy very low HP. This is Nocturne's round to lose.
Oh, great pre-fire from Rexavy to not mow right off the window. The other thing about Omega's death, too, is that he didn't use any of the gas canisters, so a lot of potential time wasting not there. Karn does get one onto Freak, and Exod is getting the plant down, and there is nothing to stop him, at least not yet, but there's the C4 from Karn, as if on cue, as if he could hear me. FICO, though, got the trade onto Rexavy, but that does leave the HP advantage in the favor of Livid in the 2 versus 2. FICO will be the next one going for the plant, but there is another C4 that can come out. It'll be from Zeno. Is it going to be successful? There it is! It even gets him on the retreat. Ellie's just Lackey outside the breach alone. In the 1v2, 15 seconds, he cuts down one in the red hallway, but Zeno is long gone. He knows he can play for the time. He has vacated the site completely, but Lackey is on the hunt. He's got to play for the kill. Zeno's now inside of Logi. There is no hope for Lackey in this round. He's got no info on where the Mozzie's gone. Well played by Zeno towards the end. Ooh, nearly the pre-fire from Lackey, but still, a good recovery from Livid. Excellent plant denial, and they take their second defense.
I mean, the plant denial was everything. That's why you want to keep those C4s in pocket until those closing moments. And again, Livid putting on a defensive clinic on that top floor. Really, it just came down to Nocturnes not getting those plant attempts in soon enough, right? Because they waited until, 30 seconds to go to get that first plant attempt down. By the time they could expend both of those C4s, whether by baiting them out or whether by just tanking them to the face, like we saw happen twice in a row, there was no time left. And the only logical conclusion from there was for Lackey to hunt for the frag. Couldn't really go for that plant because with a Mozzie lurking around the corner, the moment you stick that, the moment the clock hits 000, you are going to be immediately collapsed upon and taken care of. So a really good defensive round from Livid. They secured both of those top floor wins, but now it comes back to this basement site. This is the one where we saw the pseudo SSG style roam from Livid, and we saw the perfect SSG counter from Nocturnes, the full blue and dirt rush. And this time, a little bit concerning for Livid. They are going to employ the very same roam, but honestly a little bit more stock standard this time. They are going to be pulling out the castle, committing even heavier to this extension, just hoping that Nocturnes aren't going to go for the same rush attempt again. A risky play, if you ask me.
It doesn't appear as if Nocturnes is going for it, though. I think they figure, hey, we did it once. We're probably not going to be able to do it again. It seems like the full clear is going to be happening, so, you know, Livid don't have to worry about that, which is good. Nocturnes will be pushing directly into their roam. So, it's Whitlock and Bar, protected by those castle barricades, of course, as you normally see in the SSG roam. Xeno and Omega tasked with holding upstairs. Really the only difference in the operator lineup and the play that we see from a normal SSG roam is that there's a smoke. So Carnage can use those smoke babes if he ever feels pressured, rather than, the Legion that it used to be, or the Melusi that it is now. But it doesn't look like Xeno knows where Freak is. This is an easy kill for the Iana as he hits the crouch walk in, and Mozzie is none the wiser. That's going to be an opening pick for Nocturnes. They take one of those roamers out within the first minute.
Yeah, textbook clear so far, and there it is again, a perfect nade from FICO, and that is shortcutting half of this roam. You're not dealing with that second player who was holding that top floor. You're not dealing with Omega. Instead, you're going to force Omega to rotate back to the site, doing the work for you instead. I mean, that's the beauty of a roam clear like this. You get the job done, then you don't have to really complete it, because Omega knows that the only way that Livid have a shot in this round is if he gets back to site, or at least gets close enough to make an impact. In this case, over in Garage right now, because Nocturnes, they are collapsing everywhere around this site. You've got Freak down the bottom of main stairs, actually in the long hallway, and into Moto, ready to pressure on into Church. You've got a player over by the secret stairs. The only thing you can do is smoke this off and hope that this time delay is enough to get all three players back on the site. Omega now working his way back towards blue.
Oh, what a shot from Freak through the smoke and the pixel to get the head off Rexivy. Karn is now stuck over by this church wall. Omega goes down in blue. It is just the smoke, and he's got an ace clutch. He'll whip around with the shotgun, not be able to tag on the Freak. He is stuck between a rock and the hardest of places. It's a flawless round for Nocturnes, once again, expertly counting that SSG roam.
Well, Nocturnes have the basement attacks down. I'll give them that. Livid's defenses there just not cutting it whatsoever. But I really wonder what the formula for these top floor is, right? Both of these sites, Gym and Bedroom, CCTV and Cache, we've seen them attempted once by Livid, and they've been won both times. Nocturnes are going to have to figure out Gym and Bedroom first. And I think it's really going to start with a more efficient cache clear, or like their basement attacks, an ignoring of that extension, right? We might see an adjustment towards that jacuzzi wall side. Maybe we want to see them get a little bit more aggressive, because walking right into the cache extension really wasn't their cup of tea. Walking into the SSG roam and really committing to that full roam clear, I mean, they did that in record time, don't get me wrong. The last time we were here, it was really around where they got stalled out, they lost people early, and they just didn't have enough to push the site effectively.
Are they? Okay, they're doing pretty much the same hold. Well, hopefully Nocturnes don't die to bear traps this time. You should be, prepared for this Frost pick. Like you said, though, last time it was just too much time being taken to not really do a lot for Nocturnes. But now that they know what Livid's setup is, and it being pretty much the exact same thing, things could go smoother. One of the other things that was a little bit curious to me about the Nocturnes attack was once they established full control of server and cache, they didn't push anyone through construction, which freed up the defenders in Master to pretty much do whatever the hell they wanted. They didn't even really have too much presence on the windows either, but we'll see if they change that around this time. The wall is not hard, of course, so they'll just be able to impact it, and they'll have Mo sitting on the flank watch. But no, it's actually a slightly different hold. They have a shield facing plat wall played by the cache door this time, but still, Mo is going to be able to get the first pick onto Rexivy. That's a C4 operator and one of your cache players off the board.
Yeah, I wonder why we're seeing this adjustment from Livid. Maybe they don't want to throw the same setup at Nocturnes twice. I get that, but this more forward and what some would call aggressive positioning has already cost them a life of one player. That's Rexivy, who's gone now, and Nocturnes should be able to take swifter control off of that kill. Right now, they're still taking their time and still multiple players to clear out. Mohesi understandably nervous about fully peeking onto this platform and actually standing up, because Omega is there to watch it carefully. Omega will take a nade now, 2 to the feet, but he'll be fine at least to back on off and play a bit safer. Whitlock as well. He'll be getting a bit uncomfortable between what appears to be the fire and the flames, but Lackey is actually the one to get that kill, silencing Omega, shutting him on down, and now Nocturnes have very much indeed remedied the problematic clear in cash, claiming 2 kills and doing it rather efficiently.
And taking literally no damage in return. There's nothing that Livid has done to quell this attack thus far, though there is sub 1 minute left on the board. The C4 going out from Logi, it'll deal damage to Exod, but that is just about it, as Xeno has now proned into the opposite corner of Logi, looking to maybe disrupt this construction presence that Nocturnes has now turned around and established. Whitlock will straight up just peek the door, and he'll lop the head off a Freak, so down goes your Iana, and it's now only a 1-man advantage being held for Nocturnes, which is not that hard to overcome for the defense, especially with only 30 seconds remaining. Xeno is still hugging this corner, and it doesn't look like Nocturnes have any info. Exod waltzes right in. Xeno turns around for the hatch drop, but it's actually FICO to get that kill, the dropping player, assisted by Mo coming from the back. Now it's just Karn and Whitlock. Whitlock waiting and watching by the window, but no! He whiffs the shots and is cut down by FICO. It's Karn stuck in the bathroom in a 1v3. Plant going down from Mo. He can wait out the time. He's making sure his back is covered, taking the player off the window, and the player gets off the plant. Mo is no longer planting. It's 0-0. He's got to go for it. The pre-fire doesn't land in time. Livid take round 5 because Mo gets too scared to stick it. He doesn't trust his cover, and it ends up losing the attackers the round.
Ooh, that is one of the bigger mistakes we've seen from Nocturne so far, and that one is gonna hurt. You have 3 people in a 3v1 covering that planter, and while the first one was felled, I understand that, the confidence, the decision to get off the plant in order to maybe get that kill, maybe the timing just wasn't quite ingrained in everyone's minds the same. Maybe they thought, oh, we've got enough time to rotate over towards Jim and get a plant down there. No, that was simply not the case. It was well played. It was well played by that last player, and I mean, Livid just cleaning up in those closing seconds after Nocturnes had done such an excellent job in the majority of the round. A shocking turn of events, and that is not a mistake that Nocturnes are looking to make here on a map that we know they are quite strong at. But interestingly here, we're going to be seeing, we're going to be going downstairs. Now this one doesn't make a ton of sense. Yep. Is Cash still locked?
No, Cash is unlocked. I think they just figure, hey, you know, what if we don't roam?
5 seconds to go.
And they're not roaming, which is good. Dude, why'd he get off the plant? Because I mean, it's like, even then, right? If Karn had gotten the kill onto the planter, it's not 0-0 yet.
No, you could try to get that refrag, right?
Yeah. So that was unfortunate for Mo. Split second decision making, just not going his way. Anyway. Like I said, it's Church once again, and Livid are not roaming, so it's basically a completely different sight when you have all 5 men on it versus an SSG roam. So, they're bringing the Mira. They've got one on the church wall. I saw that one. I don't know where the second one went. It might be on, where's the default blue one watching generator? Is it? Ah, yes. Thank you, Ocho. It is. So it is the crouch one. So Whitlock has at least some help or something to fall back to. The Moto hatch is being opened and has now been opened by Mo. So that's one avenue of the attack that has now been established. Question is, where are they going to go next? Is it going to be blue? Is it going to be kitchen? Is it going to be just stride down main stairs? An aid goes through. It'll claim the shield by the church door. And it's looking like with the vertical being established, it might just be through kitchen. But Exod is not there to blow it up with his exothermic charge. In fact, I don't even know where Exod is.
Looks like right now just hanging out over towards Secret here. Yeah, over by the blue hatch instead. So some pressure being applied in stock. Lackey droning it out just to see exactly what they're dealing with. Could see a pretty similar attack, even though this is a considerably different setup. Right now, FICO's job is just to establish as much vertical pressure as possible, because it seems they don't really want to open that kitchen hatch, and right now it's going to be effective. Great work with that breaching hammer, opening up that angle and claiming that kill onto Zeno, forcing him to be relegated to camera duty for the remainder of this round. Freak now presented with another engagement, but Rexavy deciding, let's not challenge that. He's going to think a bit better of it, instead focusing on the pressure that's now mounting in Moto itself. That's just going to come in the form of a Gemini clone for now, and now followed by Mohesi and the rest of the team as the full blue pushes here, and Rexavy, desperate to counter it, swings it the first time. Mohesi now tries to capitalize, but can't. Rexavy finds two before eventually falling to Exod, but now in the middle of the site, Exod will go for this plant. Lackey, last alive here to cover because the rest of the teammates have been felled by Whitlock. Exod actually pops off the plant and gets a very heads-up kill onto Carnage B. That could certainly change the course of the round if Lackey can somehow cover his teammate, but a mirror window is staring him in the face. A great kill from Lackey. Whitlock, where was the call there? And that means the plant is going to go down, but Exod is very low. Needs to get an early engagement here, needs to just take this fight and win it, because if a scuffle emerges, a pre-fire will most certainly go the way of the Jaeger. He spotted the diffuser, but now needs to find Exod, who's touched close in Moto. Going to sprint around and just try to play the sound cue game as much as possible, and it will work out for Whitlock. A triple kill, and now all that is left is to defuse the bomb and claim the round. Livid finally fix their basement defenses, and they will take the 4-2 half.
What a play from Whitlock and Rexavy, the heroes of that round. All 5 kills being between those two players. So it seems like that was the secret to success, not roaming against Nocturnes. So Nocturnes, though they're able to get the opening pick using that sledge above Kitchen, down goes Zeno. It was the push through Moto that was really their downfall. They kind of just conga lined through it. And the fact that Rexavy was able to hit 2 heads before he was traded out was huge. That was the difference maker. Whitlock gets another kill on his own, and Lackey is stuck in blue. He can't move beyond this mirror window. Sure, Exod, he's able to protect himself for 1 kill. Like, sure, that's great. But he's then lit up to 1 HP because of it, and Lackey just can't help. Now, the plant does go down, and Lackey makes his way into blue to kill the Maestro, which was maybe a little bit of a miscall from Whitlock. But the fact that Whitlock was able to get the trade on the Lackey, the fact that Exod was only 1 HP, that was very doable for Whitlock. And he played that well, baiting out the sound cues over and over and over again, finally forcing Exod into Church itself, where Whitlock could take the heads-up engagement. And he's more likely to come out on top just because Jaeger versus Thermite at that range with that HP difference. So, Livid take a 4-2 defensive half. Now, while that is good, it is not necessarily, you know, that big of an advantage. It is Clubhouse. And there is, you know, a Hivana Thatcher ban, so 4-2 defense, pretty typical. Now we find out Livid, well, being adequate on their defense, are they going to have something to say on the attack, or is Nocturnes just going to start running the score up?
That's the question here. Can Livid continue that momentum that they've been able to build? And honestly, I think in really good fashion, they've been able to remedy a couple of those earlier mistakes. Seems that Carnage B will not be trying to Maverick trick any further, just going to move along and ignore that little issue never happened. Because right now, instead, Livid looks like they're directly pressuring on this Jacuzzi wall and rotating a full force over towards likely Jim Execute. You've got somebody coming from below, applying pressure. That's Zeno with the skeleton key in pocket. You've got Whitlock also joining his teammate down below. Carnage B as well. 3 players focused on the vertical while 2 people bunch up outside that Jacuzzi wall. And Carnage B is actually the one to claim the opening kill. Exod will fall first.
That is the smoke dead as well. Good nade through the floor from Karn. Very well done. He's looking for another. There are pings onto the floor. There's no one for that to actually kill. It's looking like he's looking for the bathroom player, but they've backed off just in time to avoid that nade. So Livid now with 1.5 minutes to deal with. We'll see if maybe now it's Whitlock's turn to get the nades as he and Karn just straight up switch positions. One will go back to the stage hatch while Whitlock works on the nades. But again, Lackey is now out of position. They are trying their best to get this guy out of bathroom, which they've been successful in. The question is whether or not they actually know it. They will now spot Lackey, who is positioned over by the main stairs, and open the mirror window from below. That is just going to be to the detriment of the defense, it seems. That'll result in the death of Rexavy. It's now even 4 versus 4, sub 1 minute, and Livid still don't have all the necessary control. There's still 2 people outside Jacuzzi, 2 down below, and that's just about it. They're just going to have to try and force the issue and hope the trades go their way.
Yeah, they've played the waiting game, but Nocturnes have done a good job of not rewarding them for it. In fact, it's Lackey who waits himself and gets rewarded himself as well. That's going to be a great kill onto Omega, shutting down the first push, looking for the second, but only 1 bullet landing on the shoulder of Zeno will not be enough to make their mark. Mohesi, however, a nice headshot onto Whitlock will spice things up. Time for Zeno to make a play. Wow. He'll jump on in and take FICO's life, but 2 kills fall immediately following for Nocturnes, and they will succeed in their first defense on Gym and Bedroom.
Well played to Lackey on the Aruni. Triple kill for him. Livid spending a lot of time downstairs. I mean, you know, they were able to get the nade kill. That was great, but there's really nothing else after that other than the opened mirror window into bathroom, which actually worked in the favor of Lackey. 2 of his kills came through because of that. 2. Livid just took way too long. They eventually decided, all right, we got to go. Push breach, push main stairs, have people outside on the balcony, and they did not get their frags. And because they had no other control other than that very limited section of the building, when they tried hopping through said windows, they were swiftly shut down. So another case of too much time spent on too little. Nocturnes now shift to a gym defense. Even putting reinforcements on Logi, that is rare. Normally those are allocated to the garage. That makes me think, with the reinforcements being set up the way they are, we're gonna have a soft con wall.
Yeah, we could be seeing that
maybe a
classic, the classic construction extension here, which is always good to see. I mean, you've got the Goyo, so you've got the shields for it. Have we seen that shield actually placed down, however? I'm not quite sure. You've got the Aruni, so that's going to add to your projectile denial. Yes, the shield is in position. So you've got the projectile denial of those ADSs, of those Aruni gates, and, well, you've got the Vulcan shields to lock that down. This is something we don't see very often, but when we do, it looks a lot like this. A construction hold designed to lock off that side of the building and not allow Livid to go for any sort of rotation around to the other side. Instead, force them to pummel their way through garage, pummel their way through this platform wall, and get it all done from here. I mean, you've already got the exothermic charge on the wall. You've taken care of that mute jammer, and there it is. The wall is open, and here comes that rush. Carnage B takes a bit of damage, but Zeno and Omega will win out their gunfights. Whitlock, a little surprise, will get him a kill. FICO has one answer, but it's not enough. But a C4 will shake things up. Unfortunately, FICO's all alone, and the prone Carnage B coming in from garage will finish him off. A rush, a full sprint into the site is well coordinated, well drawn up, and that will pay off for Livid.
Yeah, very well done. The plan there, as they saw people committing to construction, committing to downstairs, a lot of very fanned out presence from the defense. Livid identifies this, says, okay, hear me out. What if we just rush the breach? So they rush in, they distract the garage player enough for, I believe that was Karn who got that kill. Either Karn or Zeno were the ones who got the opener. So because garage is dead, that means they are free to start getting that default plant down. The rest of the defense is like, oh shit, like we gotta, oh, sorry. Oh crap, we gotta get back. And as they try to trickle back, Livid already have the flank watch. They have the cutoff set up. Down go your retaking defenders. All that's left is FICO. And while he had a great attempt, he's able to connect 2. He did not expect Carnage B to be prone in Swamp, which is, I can't really blame him for. I didn't expect that either. And ladies and gentlemen, Livid now hold a 2-round lead. This is probably, other than their game against, who was it? The Pioneers. This is probably closing in on that as their best performance yet to date, and if they can just extend this lead by 1 more point, then they will be in much better standing. And in fact, I believe they will almost be up there with Wave Runners, right? Yeah, they will actually, they'll be tied with Wave Runners for points. And if they're able to get a win, they'll vault over them and force Wave Runners into that relegation spot, which is something that obviously everybody is trying to avoid.
Well, Nocturnes, of course, not super familiar with, you know, this situation like this, fighting from behind when this is a win they'd really like to get under their belt, considering our expectations going in. The understandable timeout, a good time for them to regroup, figure out what they can do, and how they are going to, in this case, lock down the basement site. First try, they got Jim. They did that pretty well, but they went to CCTV and Cash, and, well, we all saw how that ended quite quickly. So it's down to the basement here. We're not going to see any sort of SSG-style roam shenanigans, although we will see a Mozzie in play. So some element of that roam possibly, and some element of that info denial is still on the board, but this is definitely an on-site focused defense. We saw those Aruni gates placed down on the site, on that kitchen hatch is one example, and of course you've got the Echo in play instead of the Maestro, bringing out those Yokai drones, combine that with the smoke, and you've got quite a good plant denial wombo combo in the mix here. But Livid, they're right now going to run through their checklist. They're going to get their steps done, the first of which is likely forcing Freak back down these stairs. They've droned him out, what, 3 times now, so they know exactly where he is positioned, and a couple of pre-fires through that secret window will indeed finally force the Jaeger to back off.
Yeah, the combo Buck Sledge will make it very easy for them to open up all the necessary holes. It speeds things up quite drastically, and because there's no one contesting them, you know, they can just go ahead and go to their construction work. The Moto hatch will fall as well. So now the question becomes, are they going to end up opening the kitchen hatch, or are they going to be doing something like a blue split? That's what we saw Nocturnes doing. Is he going to be over just towards Church Wall as well? As I don't know if Omega still has his second thermite charge because he is on a drone. He is droning out Moto. He sees there is one player inside of Church, and has Xeno? Oh, Xeno's made his way down secret stairs. He's already there. Rexaby's pushed down Oil Pit. Okay, so it is going to be a blue split. Members of Livid already cutting off these defenders, but they are coming under fire. Rexaby takes a couple bullets, and the Jaeger actually wins out that fight. I didn't think Freak was going to win that, but he does. And that leaves Xeno all alone with no support, stuck at the bottom of secret stairs, but there's that second thermite charge. They'll go ahead, open the church wall. There's a shield that the smoke can play behind, consistently delaying. And now that Xeno has backed off, there is significantly less blue pressure for the defenders to worry about.
Yeah, right now they really just have to worry about if there's going to be any sort of rush through this church wall or this Moto door, perhaps. I mean, this is where most of the attack is stacked up at this point, and it is Omega from that very position to claim the kill on to Freak. So taking care of the Jaeger, who'd been pretty elusive so far, but the next player to deal with is going to be Exod, tucked close in this corner, shotgun in hand, and he's going to go for the swing. Unfortunately, that's not going to work. Whitlock was lying ready for that swing, and that's going to open the door for Omega to jump on in and go for this plant. The Yokai drones not going to deny it in time. In fact, it will. Omega stopped at the last second, now has to reattempt it, and one more drone in play. It gets the charge off. Nocturnes pull out the defensive win despite the disadvantage. Yokai drones bringing it home.
Wow, the power of Echo. Well done to Nocturnes. I really thought that was going to go Livid's way. I'm not going to lie. It seemed like they had nearly every pressure point accounted for. Sure, you know, they lost what little control of blue that they had. They're still able to make it happen through the church wall, finding those opening picks, getting the gaps into the site they needed. They started getting the plant down, and there was nothing to affect it except those Yokai drones. But what happened? What was Livid's fatal flaw? They took too damn long. So what happens? The plant attempt starts going down with about 12, 13, 14 seconds left on the board, and that is prime Echo real estate. Both drones were still up. Sure, he's only able to get one burst off with the first one, but the time was so low that it did not matter, and unfortunately, Maverick could not react in time to the second. Very well played by the Echo of Nocturnes, and that will prevent Livid from guaranteeing the point. Nocturnes, if they take the next 3 in a row, will still claim the full regulation victory and fully solidify their spot in playoffs.
Wow. Nocturnes really want to make this one close. They're not gonna let us off the hook easy here with a dominant victory by any means. Still down 1 round after all, and they're headed back to Gym, a site that eluded them on the attack, but on their first defensive attempt in round number 7, did in fact go their way. We'll see how they want to manifest this cash hold, if at all. Last time, that wasn't the main focus of their defense, and it doesn't appear it's going to be the case yet again. Nobody at the moment is actually in cash proper. Instead, everyone either in logistics or construction to hold this down, something that Livid, it looks like they've already realized this, and if not, that's going to be confirmed by Rexavy's drone as it pops on into cash. So at least that shouldn't be a problem for Livid. I mean, Nocturnes surely know that last time Livid really committed heavily to this Jacuzzi wall push, likely why we're not seeing so much utility on the other side of the map. But right now, Livid are going for at least a little bit of a split take. You've got this Jacuzzi wall open, now you've got this con wall open, so they're building pressure from just about everywhere, the windows of the master bedroom included. The Nocturnes, they are now being surrounded. And Livid, they just need to find this opening pick, and they could be in business. A great impact trick from Mo. Gets a bit aggressive on the window for a moment before falling back into sight and playing a bit of time.
That's both thermite charges now over and done with really nothing to show for it. So well done from Mo. He was the highlight Echo from last round and now doing away with all of the thermite utility this round. But unfortunately, one of those C4s, Exod, is not long for this world. Zeno takes him out very quickly. That was that Logi player. And now you have less control on that side of the map, and that leaves it all up to Lackey, covering the hatch inside gold by his Lonesome. You'll hear the Aruni gate get burned. A nade will come through from Carnage to make way for Rexavy in. It won't kill a player, but it'll allow for the entry. Sure, Lackey will trade himself out, but it's still a one-man advantage for the attack. But as I say that, Zeno gets cut down by Freak. We're back to even, 3 versus 3. HP just about even as well, with both Whitlock and Mo being 1. There was someone tucked just behind the overturned mattress, nearly being seen by Rexavy. Finally, he'll finish off the Melusi, but not before the damage done is to Karn. I believe the Jaeger just got timing there. That is truly unfortunate for Freak, peeking the doorway just as the Zofia leaves. At least FICO alone. He's stuck inside bathroom. This is a position that we've seen played before and actually work out for a defender. Is Livid going to let it happen? Here's the C4. That might deny it on Rexavy. No, he turns around and shoots it. What a whip around from the Zof. He'll keep himself alive, at least for now. 15 seconds. He'll start getting the plant, and there's the watch from Karn. The headshot lands on FICO, and Livid confirmed the point.
I mean, that is simply well played from Livid. They just rolled their way in through cash methodically, took control of construction. They rotate around towards logistics, and even though Nocturnes found a couple of good kills that could have easily changed the course of the round, Livid did not let it get the better of them. Eventually storming on into the site, Rexavy playing that really well, taking the life of Freak on the entry, really just doing it all. And putting together a really good performance. Nocturnes, they don't have any more timeouts to stave off defeat. It's now match point. Livid have secured at least a single point in this matchup. And Nocturnes have a 2-round deficit to make up. CCTV and Cash didn't go their way last time. Church, they were able to pull it out. But Jim, as we just saw, has gone a bit of both ways. They are going to head to CCTV and Cash. This is going to be an interesting decision, considering the outcome, but they don't want to repeat Jim again. Church downstairs is still locked up. This is pretty much your only option, because bar stock is not somewhere you like to play.
Yeah. However, it is going to be a completely different defense. No con plus downstairs shenanigans. Much more close to the chest. Unless, you know, Mo could obviously go off on his own as Mozzie if he so wishes to, which he probably will. But there's no con shield they have to worry about. Much more of the manpower and utility is focused on the site, so Livid, at least theoretically, aren't just going to rush this, because they would be probably pretty insane to do that. They do have the Buck, though, on Xeno. Once again, his task will be to open this wall and then likely go downstairs, and we will see him do what he wasn't able to in the previous attempt on this site, and that's use the bottom-up pressure inside stock. So I'm very excited to finally see him able to play the Buck. Now that's not a rush. We get to see Livid and Nocturnes actually try an attack on this site.
Right now, it is going to be pretty classic early stage for Carnage B here. He'll get the Maverick trick going. Eventually succeeding in doing so. And Xeno, with the skeleton key on that Buck, will open that wide. Omega, interestingly enough, is going to be joining Whitlock on this clear from the gym side of things. And we might be seeing a little bit of a cash back-end attack based on this early setup from Livid. You do have someone all the way out in the grapes in kennels right now, still biding their time holding this long angle. So clearly, Rexavy is still being patient, and they're not going to commit to one side or the other just yet. But the lack of presence in garage, no hard breach on one of those garage doors, that should suggest to Nocturnes roughly what they're coming up against here. I mean, Whitlock is already up towards this construction door. Xeno and Omega, they're there as well. Nocturnes, a good bit of manpower is off the site right now, playing vertically. Good on them to realize that's not being contested, but it's going to come down to more than just that. They've got to get these C4s off, and they've got to do it well. 3 of them in pocket, Mohesi, Exot, and FICO wielding that explosive denial, one of which is going to already go off and is going to come up with nothing. A little bit of damage dealt to Omega, but an exothermic charge not wasted. Only a couple of flashbangs going over. Now that Omega will burn that utility successfully, no impact trick in sight, the wall's going to be opened wide.
The nade also doing damage to Mo, forcing him off green box. He's now tucked around the doorway. And I lied. Xeno not going for the upwards vertical. Instead, just pushing through Logi and Khan with the rest of his team. First pick will be onto Lackey. That was one of those downstairs players assisting Exod in getting that C4 down. Just a good entry from Rexavy. Free trades back onto Karn. Your Mav now dead. The plant going down. And they've got no idea Mo is here. He's just letting them walk in, but no, Whitlock still kills him. Mo could have had a free pick, but the trigger discipline ends up not working in his favor. Free still gets one, though, and there's the C4 downing the thermite mid-sight. Xeno has to get this plant down. Whitlock is going to try and cover. He's got 2 kills. All he's got to do is find the last one, but he can't kill Freak. The plant still goes down. It's a 1 versus 1, and Xeno wins out. Livid take round 11, coming from behind on the site, execute, and they take their very first win.